Hey, just a quick follow-up. We sent out KBH as a trade idea last night, and then I said I would follow up with a video on what we did with KBH, if anything. I actually did make an early call in it, but I ended up with a flat trade, and I'll show you exactly how and why. There's the daily chart now. Going to 2-minute candles. Let's scroll over. When it looked like this, okay, it's in a fairly narrow range, about a 20-cent range. Remember, the daily chart was beaten up. I just showed you the daily chart. I said I actually like this if it breaks the early high. Remember how beaten up it was, okay? And very close to breaking yesterday's high as well in this area. So a good place that this could take off. So I called this at 1191. Geez, I can't remember the stop. Like a dime below, I think, was the stop. 1179. So 12 cents risk. And let me talk about why I did that. Okay, the high of day break. Normally, I want a bounce play like KBH to trade in a narrow range for at least 30 minutes, preferably an hour or more, or even an afternoon break of a narrow range. The only reason I was interested in KBH is because it gapped up and it was showing some strength here. Matter of fact, it came down, took out the early low of the day right here, and then right back up. That was interesting action to me. Anyway, so 1191, 1179. But what happened was it went to 1197, and then this red candle comes in right about here. Came back to my entry right here. You see this little tail? And because this was a trade, if you look at this was about 10 minutes till the top of the hour. And we knew, and we always keep an eye on what's coming out, we knew existing home sales were getting ready to come out at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. And so once it came back down to my entry, I was looking for a quick 15-20 cent move for an early scalp, okay? I am not going to hold it long. I'm also not going to short it into existing home sale numbers because those do affect home builders, okay? So I was looking for a quick 15-20 cent move. Nice way to start the day if I get it. It went up like 7 cents, 6 cents, and came back to my entry, and I said, you know what, I'm back out because there's no way I'm holding this into the numbers. And I needed this to work pretty quickly. All right, if I would have got through 12, I would have been a seller anyway. So I wasn't looking for the big move here. We knew those numbers were coming out. Having said all that, you can see what happened all the way down. Now, like I said, you could easily have said, well, why wouldn't you have shorted that knowing those numbers were coming out? Obviously, it was a great short if you did, but you didn't. There's no guarantee it's going to do this. You don't know what it's going to do into existing home sales. So you just need to know that those numbers are coming out, and in my opinion, you're gambling if you're long or short into those numbers. So keep in mind, I was looking for a 2 to 4 minute move for a quick scalp. And anyway, ended up taking a flat. I will talk about some other trades and ended up grinding the rest of the day. I will talk about some other calls in the chat room. As you've known if you've watched any of our videos, we've added some what we call chat room all-stars to our list where they have different colored font and it chimes when they post in one. These are guys that I've decided have proven themselves over the years in our chat room. And we even kind of did a little vote, and I think everybody agreed with our choices. So we've got about 4 or 5 all-stars in there, and I try to highlight them in every video. So VVUS, one of our members, ZOZO, is his chat room name, typed in VVUS when it looked like this. He said, I like it if it breaks the early high. This is a 5-minute opening candle. You can see what it did the other day. As a matter of fact, one of our all-stars the other day called VVUS at 2040 right here before it ripped. Okay, so people that like to trade in the first 5 or 10 minutes, because you can get these nice moves, both these ideas were available to them. I'm usually more conservative and trying to build a list of high volume stocks that we can trade from later, like NTAP yesterday. So I usually stay out of these trades, but a lot of people like these early moves. To me, they're a little bit more dangerous, but ZOZO said VVUS, he typed in over the 5-minute high, would have been 2104 with a worst case stop, low of day 2078. Look what happens. Boom, 2140, and before you know it, up to from 2104 to 2168 in about 10 minutes. So beautiful call by ZOZO. And then I'll show you a couple of my calls from the day, and I'll show you why I called them. HIG gapped up. Okay, I can't talk. It had gapped up into space. So we were watching this one on the pullback, and when it came down and looked like this, because of methods we teach, and for one, it had just broken down below the 20. But this, anytime you get near that 20 period moving average, 5-minute candles, it's an area to start looking for a bounce in a strong stock, okay? Anyway, I called it over this candle as a long with a stop below this candle as a stop. So 22.56, 22.48 stop, 8 cents risk, and it promptly moves to almost 22.90. That's not a huge move, but you know what? That's a nice money in your pocket move. And it came back down later, and I was back out. So I scaled out some and ended up back out at break even later. But a very nice little trade there. Remember, it was 8 cents a share risk. Another example of one of my calls from today was Lionsgate Films, LGF. Where did I call? I called Lionsgate. I was projecting this live for everybody. Called Lionsgate over this candle. I like the pullback to the rising 20. Called it a 1561, 1545 stop. So that is what, 16 cents? And it didn't exactly tear it up, but over the next 10 minutes went to 1575. 14-cent move. Held the stop and ended up going higher. But really chopping. And you know what? This kind of action was very common today in a ton of stocks. I mean, stocks that were nice early moves. I make the joke that XYZ, or in this case LGF, is planking, following the national craze of planking, the new national pastime. A lot of stocks were planking today. So even though you get little tradable moves, you get a lot of this. One of our joking around words too is sidewaysness. One of the GSP words. So and then also want to give a quick hats off to Mo. You can bring in. I did take one screenshot today because I was impressed with Mo's call. Let's slide it over here. I just took a little screenshot of Mo taking some P-wave at 2 for a scalp. And you see Mimi. I had just said to the chat room that I might be one of the best looking men in Florida, and then Mimi typed in agree, Mike. So that's what that was about. I'm just kidding. P-wave. So Mo grabbed this at 2. Again, he's one of our all-stars. If you noticed, his font is a different color. Everybody else is in black except for the all-stars. And again, when Mo typed it in, you get a chime as well. So anyone who wanted to could have followed Mo on PWAV at 2, which was right about here. And look what it does. It goes up over 10% from there. And P-wave actually has an impressive, I said that could be multi-day. It has an impressive looking daily chart for a cheap stock. So anyway, I'm not going to babble any further. KBH, basically a flat trade for me. Also some good ideas from members in the room. My best trade of the day was that HIG trade, and it wasn't much. I called it sandwich money, but I didn't have any losing trades today because I traded cautious. But it was one of those planking days for a lot of stocks. So anyway, I'm not going to babble any further. Have a great night. We'll try to send out, like I said before, if I find a chart that has a crystal clear trigger and stop based on the daily versus like KBH today, that's a bounce play and you got to try to figure out how to enter. I know that's not a fair free pick to send out because everything on that is based on intraday setups. So I certainly will try to send out more free picks in the near future if I can find some that I like the the daily with a crystal clear trigger price. All right, I'm gonna stop babbling. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you later.